Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question that might make you shift in your seat for a second. Have you ever wondered if a woman truly desires you not just emotionally, but physically? Have you ever been in a situation where you're unsure if she's ready to take that next step? And you're terrified of reading the signs wrong. Let me tell you this. When a woman wants to sleep with you, she may not say, "Hey, let's go to bed." But there is always something she says first that gives you the green light. And if you miss it, well, my dear friend, you might miss an opportunity that may never come back. Now, here's what most men get wrong. You're looking for the big, bold, obvious signs. You're waiting for her to grab you, pull you close, or whisper some X-rated fantasy in your ear. But in reality, a woman who's ready to cross that line often starts with something subtle but powerful. She'll say something that sounds innocent, but is loaded with intent, and it usually starts with her trying to create privacy or deepen the connection. She might say, "Why don't you come over?" Or "I feel so safe around you." Or even, "I wish we had more time together, just us." These are not just words. They are invitations. They are tests. She's signaling that she's comfortable, she trusts you, and she's mentally opening the door to intimacy. But here's where it gets deeper. What she says first is never the point, blank proposition. It's the setup, the cue for you to pay attention, to tune into her emotional and physical vibe. Let me break it down for you. When a woman starts talking about you and her in scenarios that isolate you from the world, when she hints at closeness, comfort, or craving time alone together, it's often her way of saying she's ready for more. Not because she's easy, not because she owes you anything, but because the connection is right, the moment feels safe, and she's giving you the signal to lead. But here's the catch. If you push too fast, if you misinterpret nervousness for readiness, you kill the mood. If you miss the cue entirely, she'll think you're not interested, or worse, that you can't read her emotional language. And trust me, nothing is more unattractive to a woman who's opened that door than a man who can't see it. So the next time you're with a woman and she says something like, "I feel like I can be myself around you," or "It's been so long since I've felt this way with someone," don't just hear the words, feel the energy behind them. Respect it, respond to it, and match her pace, because that's the moment where true intimacy begins. Not just in the bedroom, but in the bond you create together. Gentlemen, listen beyond the words. That's where her desire speaks loudest. When it comes to understanding a woman's desire for intimacy, one of the biggest mistakes men make is expecting direct and obvious verbal cues. The truth is, women rarely come out and say, "I want to sleep with you." This isn't because they don't feel desire or because they are playing games, but because of the way women are conditioned to express their interest, which is often through subtlety rather than bluntness. A woman may worry about being judged or labeled, so she opts for signals that protect her dignity while still giving you the chance to understand what she wants. This means that when a woman is ready to take things to the next level, she will likely say something that sounds ordinary on the surface, but is filled with meaning when you pay attention to the context and her energy. For example, a woman might say, "It's getting late, you don't have to go just yet," or "I really enjoy being around you like this." These phrases on their own sound innocent, but within the right setting, perhaps after a date, during a quiet moment alone, they carry the weight of an unspoken invitation. What she's really doing is testing your ability to read her deeper communication, to sense the emotion behind the words rather than just hearing the literal message. Many men miss these signals because they are waiting for a woman to say something that leaves no room for doubt. But the reality is, if you are waiting for that kind of clarity, you are likely to miss the moment entirely. The key is to listen beyond the surface and notice when her words are layered with intention and emotional openness. When a woman feels ready to share intimacy with you, the first thing she says is usually designed to create privacy or closeness between the two of you. She might say something as simple as, "Why don't you come inside for a bit?" after you've walked her to her door, or "Do you want to stay for coffee?" when the evening winds down. On the surface, these suggestions seem casual and polite, but underneath, they are her way of signaling that she wants to extend the connection and see how you respond. She is inviting you into her space, both physically and emotionally. This doesn't mean she's asking for intimacy outright, but she is giving you the opportunity to create an environment where intimacy could naturally unfold. In addition, women will often use phrases that express their desire for more focused time together, away from others. She might say, "I wish we had this whole place to ourselves," or "It's so nice when it's just us." Again, the words themselves are not direct propositions, but they are powerful hints that she wants the connection to deepen without outside distractions. The subtlety is important to her because it allows her to test your understanding, your sensitivity, and your ability to move at a pace that feels respectful and comfortable. A man who recognizes these invitations for what they are demonstrates emotional intelligence and earns even more of her trust. This sets the stage for the intimacy that she truly desires, not rushed or forced, but shared in a way that feels natural and right for both of you. When a woman is considering the possibility of physical intimacy, she needs to feel a sense of trust and emotional connection before she opens that door. This is why her signals will often focus on the idea of comfort and safety. When she says things like, "I feel so safe around you," or "I can really be myself with you," she is not just complimenting you. She is revealing that she feels secure in your presence, that she trusts you with her vulnerability, and that you have created an emotional environment where intimacy becomes possible. Women do not separate emotional security from physical desire the way some men might. For her, the two are deeply linked. When she expresses these feelings, she is sharing her readiness for the next level of closeness, provided you continue to honor that sense of safety. These statements are often accompanied by body language cues. She may sit closer to you, make prolonged eye contact, or find reasons to touch you gently, such as brushing your arm or adjusting your clothing. These signs are not random. They are part of the way she communicates her openness. A woman's desire for intimacy is deeply tied to her emotional state. If she feels safe, accepted, and valued, she is far more likely to take that step towards physical closeness. Therefore, when you hear her say things that highlight her comfort with you, recognize that she is not just being kind. She is signaling that the trust is in place, and intimacy is now on the table if you are sensitive enough to move forward in the right way. One of the fastest ways to lose the opportunity for intimacy is to misread or rush the signals a woman gives you. Even when she says something that hints at desire, pushing too fast or making assumptions about what she wants can immediately kill the mood. This is because, for a woman, the path to intimacy is as important as the act itself. She wants to feel that you are in tune with her, that you respect her pace, and that you are capable of responding to her needs without making her feel pressured or uncomfortable. If you hear her say, "I feel safe around you," and you immediately leap into action without watching for her body language or checking if she's truly ready, you risk shattering that sense of safety she just expressed. Similarly, if you interpret every kind or inviting phrase as a cue to escalate physically, you may come across as insensitive or predatory, even if that wasn't your intention. Women are incredibly attuned to how a man handles these moments. They notice when you take the time to match their energy, to look for confirmation in their behavior, and to move in a way that feels natural rather than forced. Rushing things tells her that you are more interested in your own desires than in her feelings, and that can cause her to pull back emotionally and physically. The man who succeeds in these moments is the one who is patient, observant, and responsive. He listens not just with his ears, but with his heart and his instincts, ensuring that the progression towards intimacy feels mutual, comfortable, and deeply satisfying for both people involved. Another way a woman signals her interest in intimacy is by talking about shared experiences or future scenarios that involve just the two of you. This is her way of mentally creating a space where intimacy feels more acceptable, natural, and inviting. She might say things like, "We should go away together sometime," or "Imagine if we had a whole weekend with no interruptions." These statements are not just casual fantasies. They are her way of planting the idea of closeness and testing your response. When she talks like this, she is inviting you to see her in that private, personal context. It's a soft and indirect way of expressing that she wants to deepen your bond without making herself feel exposed or vulnerable to judgment. These future-focused comments allow her to gauge whether you are on the same wavelength, whether you are capable of envisioning that kind of togetherness, and whether you will respect the emotional context she wants for intimacy. The man who picks up on these hints and responds in a way that reinforces the emotional connection, without making it solely about physical gratification, will find that she feels safer and more open to letting that imagined closeness become reality. It's all about showing her that you are in tune with the deeper meaning behind her words, that you value the emotional experience as much as the physical one, and that you see intimacy as something that grows naturally out of genuine connection. Finally, it's essential to understand that a woman's real signal of desire lies beyond her words. It's in her energy, her vibe, and the way she carries herself in your presence. A woman can say the right words, but if her tone, her eyes, and her body language don't match, then the words mean little. Conversely, she might say something that sounds neutral, but the softness in her gaze, the lingering touch, the way she leans in closer when she talks, these are the true indicators of her interest. The energy she gives off when she's ready for intimacy is warm, inviting, and unmistakable to the man who is paying attention. She will create moments of pause in conversation where closeness can happen. She will slow down her movements to give you time to respond, and she will show you through small actions that she is open to you. This is why listening beyond the words is so crucial. A man who focuses only on what she says without noticing how she says it will miss these vital cues. But the man who tunes into the unspoken language, the emotional signals in her tone, her posture, her touch, will always know when the time is right. This ability to read her energy is what separates a man who connects deeply from one who stumbles through these delicate moments. Women want to feel that a man understands not just their words, but their whole emotional message, and that is where true intimacy is born.